Every one of you has the ability, if you want to write magnificent things, because your life has caused you to ask the questions. Your life has it all queued up for you, and if you could just get into the receptive mode, let it come for your pleasure at first. But as it begins to come and you're taking pleasure from it, begin to write it down. Others will enjoy it too.
This is all very helpful. So on a practical level, with the last book that I wrote, I rested a lot before I did it. And even when it came through, it blasted a hole in my sixth chakra to the point where I got migraines, and then I had to spend months recovering from the migraines and just... So how can I get better at this receiving
We're
thing?
happy to have this conversation because the conversations that have preceded it have put us in the perfect place to explain something really important to you. You are under the misunderstanding that you have to suffer in service in order to come up with something of value. And it just doesn't work out that way. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. In other words, this is the quintessential example of just trying too hard. You're paying too big of a price, you see. Esther remembers in the early days that it made her tired to receive us, but it was only because her resistance was in the way. So relaxing is the right idea, resting is the right idea, but we want to help you to get to the expectation of it coming easily, you see.
Yeah, well, the easiest time for me to write is when I first wake up in the morning.
And why? It's logical because you're less resistant then, yes?
Yeah, and I bring my laptop into bed, and it's like really snuggly, and I'm all comfy and happy, and I'm not fully awake, and then I just do it, and then it's fun, and then
stop. Get on with your day and then do it again tomorrow, and then stop and get on with your day and then do it again tomorrow, and then stop and then get on with your day and do it again tomorrow, then stop and then do it again and get on with your day. Yeah.
So what is the resistance that I can relax into? Because I'm getting better at it, but it's still there.
Beliefs are just thoughts that you keep thinking. And so things that you keep saying don't help you. These things that you're saying. In other words, some have coined the phrase, you're arguing for your limitations. And others would say, well, I'm just telling it like it is. And we say, well, if you like the way it is, keep telling it. But if you don't like the way it is, then don't keep telling it the way that it is. Tell it a different way. And so when you say, I write best in the morning, that's really good. Say that all day long. I write best in the morning. I like it. We like the word cozy in my bed or snuggly in my bed. All of that, that's telling it the way you want it to be. So you just want to give that more airtime and give the struggle part of it less airtime. We could talk for the rest of this seminar about what resistance is present for any of you that's keeping you from anything that you want. But from what you've heard from us, do you think that's the way we want to spend any time at all? Do you think we would like to be the sounding board or the pinpointer or the getting to the bottomer of anything that is holding you in resistance? That's like saying, would you practice with me, Abraham, the thing that's keeping you from what I want? And we say, we certainly will not practice with you the thing that's keeping you from what you want. What we want you to do is to be aware of when you're practicing it, because that's what negative emotion is. When you've got a hole burning in your imaginary chakra in the middle of your head, we think that that's a sign. We think that's a sign of more struggle than you're really wanting to endure. We think that's a sign to do something different, you see.
Yeah. Well, when that happened, my guidance said that when the migraines ended, it would just be easy. And then it was. So my question to you is...
Well, we want to say it to you this way. If you've got negative emotion, if you're asking for something, and at some level of your being you're attempting to translate it, and you've got resistance in the way and you don't know it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And if you ask for it more, it will come stronger. But if the resistance is still there, it will feel worse. And if you keep asking for it more, it will come stronger, but the resistance will keep it from coming and you will feel more discomfort about it. Can you feel the push-pull in this? In other words, I want this thing that I'm not letting in. Well, I really want this thing that I'm not letting in. I really, really, really want this thing that I'm not letting in. I really, really, really want this thing that I'm not letting in. And we say, at some point, you got to stop doing the that I'm not letting it in part. And you're not usually doing that all at once. You're doing it in conversations like this. So many of you We love you so much. Think that others are interested in you. And so you spend a lot of time explaining to them why you feel the way you feel. And it would really be a good idea if you would stop that, because they don't care. And it's causing you to practice vibrations that are preventing you from letting in what you're asking for. When you really, 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 really want something like you do, but you've got habits of thought that don't let it in, then you can push through, you can tough it out, but it's not fun and it doesn't turn out the way it could, you see. So if it's not feeling good, don't do it right now. Don't do it. Do something else.
Yeah, that's what I did. And it's good because when I don't write, I knit, and when I don't knit, I make jewelry, and I just go between whatever feels fun. And when something stops feeling fun, then I go to the other thing.
Well, we'd like to believe you.
So my question...
But everything that you said to us before that makes us not believe you.
So what did you do to make it easier to channel? How did you get that process easier?
That's a really well-timed question, and we would say to you an inspired question that you let in this moment. And the most significant thing, this is something for you to take in no matter what it is that you're wanting. Esther had been encouraged to quiet her mind. When your mind wanders, and it will, just release the thought and focus on your breathing. That was what her intention was. It was never Esther's intention to be doing this. It was her intention to live happily ever after. Her question was, how can we achieve our goal? And the answer was, meditate. In other words, the answer went right to what is the tool that is most likely to put you in the receiving mode. So Esther quieted her mind for about 15 minutes and liked the way it felt. She liked the way it felt. She felt a releasing of tension. She felt a sort of detachment. After 12 or 13 minutes, she could not really tell her foot from her nose. She felt that sort of disassociation. She liked the way it felt. And so, because she liked the way it felt, she did it every day for several months. Not trying to make something happen with it. She just liked the way it felt. It was a releasing of resistance. She didn't even know that. She just liked the way it felt. It was leading her to opening a passageway. She didn't know that. She just liked the way it felt. It was the beginning of all of this receiving of all of this powerful information. She didn't know that. She just liked the way it felt. You see what we're getting at? How do you get rid of doubt before it starts? And so it's about caring about how you feel rather than trying to make something happen first. We've said it in a lot of different ways. We'll tell you all of the ways we've said it. I said, open your valve and let it flow. We said, flow downstream rather than upstream. We said, get into the vortex. We said, don't try so hard. We say, take the path of least resistance. In other words, what is it that keeps you from being willing to allow it to be as easy as it really is? It's this worthiness thing that you've got stuck in your vibrational craw, isn't it? It's this belief, which is a thought that you keep thinking, that I have to pay a price. It can't be that easy. Oh, really? It cannot be that easy. Are you kidding? Don't I need a PhD? Don't I need to struggle more? Don't I need to pay a greater price? No. Just quiet your mind. Just quiet your mind and just do it long enough that you allow the vibration of your being to raise until it matches compatibility with the vibration of who you really are. And then all of the inside of all that matters to you will flow abundantly forth to you in every conceivable manifestational way that you choose, you say.
And so for you, it'd be meditation, and yet for somebody else, it would be doing whatever they do that just puts them into this state
The
of
reason that
joy.
meditation is good for everyone is because when you quiet your mind, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop resistance. And when you stop resistance, your vibration raises. And when your vibration raises, you're compatible, and then you can receive.
But you could do that also through yoga, right?
It's really fun talking with you.
Okay.
Because you said, what did Esther do?
Yes.
And so we explained to you what Esther did, and now you're arguing for another way a little bit.
Yes, you're right.
And so there are lots of ways. It's not just one way. But the common denominator in all of the ways is it's something that comes easily. And we can't think of anything easier than just sitting in a chair and not thinking. See. But you may want to pay a greater price. You may feel like you need to strike a really awkward pose.
The harder, the better.
It's sort of what we're talking about here, isn't it? It's what so many believe. The harder it is, the better results. And we say that defies everything that we know to be. Path of least resistance is the way the universe works. Path of least resistance. You see, but what happens is, we love giving this to you so much, because once you get in this mode of path of least resistance, then all things are possible. And things that seemed very difficult and hard aren't, because the vibrational frequency of who you are and the momentum of all you've got going and all of the cooperative components that are assisting you come into place. Esther has in her ranch in Texas, she's got a big iron bull that stands right at the entrance. And it's not because it's Texas, it's because Jerry always told the story. He said to Esther, he used to tease her about this because he would watch her in the things that she had learned to do, the computer she's learned to program, and the understanding that she has of so many things, and not just the receiving and the translating, but all of the talents that she's developed in order to make things go easily. And he said to her, it's like the joke that I used to tell about the old farmer that picked a small calf up and lifted it over the fence. And every day he picked the calf up and lifted it over the fence. And he just did it every day. And after a little while, he was picking a great big old bull up and lifting it over the fence. And he didn't even know that he was picking a great big bull up and lifting it over the fence, because it had just become so natural to him. So what happens is, the more you ask and the more you allow, the more you begin to perceive yourself as the worthy being, the more you begin to understand that all things are possible, the more insight you have, the more cooperative components come to assist you, then you continue to become broader and more expansive and more capable and more dynamic and more multitasking and more experiencing more things at the same time, because you are allowing yourself to be the receiver on more levels at the same time. You see what we're getting at? But you got to get the struggle out of it first. So when you ask for the dynamics of it before you've got the struggle out of it, then that's that sensation that you were describing. And we just want to softly call that trying too hard. This conversation has been valuable for you. We know it has been. You've been resistant enough that you have drawn forth from us every conceivable thing that can be imagined. And therefore, it has been beneficial to everyone, hasn't it? Yes. Yes. Enough? Yes. Yes.